Welcome to Stories of the Soul radio show. Today is January the 28th, 2023. Today is an amazing day. Yesterday, we celebrated my first granddaughter's birthday, Princess Soraya Webster. She made 13. She is now a teenager. Just wanted to let you know that I love you very much. And I pray that God continues to just nourish and grow you. She's just a pure joy to be around. I'm thinking back when I first laid eyes on her, she stole my heart and she still has it today. I also want to give a shout out. Tomorrow, we're going to be celebrating Big Stro's birthday. Woo woo. He's going to be having a 50th birthday bash. Well, he had one yesterday, I should say. And that's going to be so amazing. I know that it's going to be going down. Look forward to it. So I just want to give a shout out to anyone that has recently lost their mother. And today's show, I want to just kind of talk a little bit about death and dying, the effects of losing our loved ones. And I think it's so important because right now we're living in the time and days of a lot of death been happening. But let me go and do some little bit of advertisement so we can pay these bills. So tune in 24/7 to Believe Radio. No more do you have to wait to be uplifted. No longer do you have to wait to be inspired on Sunday mornings. You can tune in onto your radio. You can stream live. You can fall asleep with it on. You can put it on your background. Believe Radio. Listen to Stories of the Soul every Sunday from about 3:30 to 4:30, 4 o'clock, just depending on the day and time. I will be changing the time that I'm going to be airing. I think I'm going to move it back to 2 o'clock, but I'll give and let everybody be posted. But thank you for tuning in. So let's talk a little bit about death and dying. And what I want to address and what I want to say is this: death and dying is a part of life. I'm going to repeat myself. Death and dying is a part of life. Yesterday, I was blessed to be on a show called Ascent. And I was asked the question: how have I been able to ascend through life? How I've been able to ascend through life is through the strength of God, our Creator, and also through the appreciation of my haters. That's how I've been able to ascend through life. And with me ascending through life, there's going to come a time where I'm going to transition. But I have to just pause and say this: God is good. And whenever He calls me home, I will be ready. I lost a daughter back in 2000. Her name was Danielle. Those of you who know me know the journey, you know what happened. And I remember when she died, I remember asking the late senior A.L. Cobb's wife, which is Mama Cobb's. I said, who took my baby from me? I had never lost anything or anyone. And what she said to me was this. She said, the Lord giveth and the Lord taketh away. And that kind of helped me because I was thinking, well, is it because I made a mistake? Is it because I committed a sin? Is it something I did before? Why was my child that God blessed me to bring into the world taken from me? I was always taught that prayers of the righteous man availeth much, right? I was always taught much prayer, much power. Little prayer, little power. No prayer, no power. So in my mind, when I prayed and asked God to let my daughter live and she still died, that took me in a different direction I didn't understand. And there's things to this day I don't understand. God has blessed me. I am now a chaplain for, we're called the Oakland Community Chaplains. We're under the umbrella of the pastors of Oakland. Pastor Scott is the leader, and Reverend or Bishop Bob Jackson is the founder. And it's so rewarding to give back. It's so rewarding that I'm able to pray for others. So, with that being said, I have a lot of people ask me for prayer. It's not about me trying to convert anybody. That's not the assignment or the job of a chaplain. The job of a chaplain is to be someone that someone can come to vent, to be encouraged, to be uplifted, and offer prayer. But as I'm offering prayer, I'm very transparent. When you pray, you are making a request. You're making a request to God, right? But in order to hear the answer, you yourself have to meditate. I cannot give you that answer. You know, I don't get into like all different religions. I think some religions you got to go to them and then they go to God for you. But the good thing is, under my teachings, you can go to God for yourself. And so as we go through life, we all are going to transition. I hate to tell you that, and I'm not trying to be insensitive, but it's just a part of life. And I want to try to help somebody today. I have people that I'm very close to that recently just lost their mother. Jeremy, Aisha, Crystal, Auntie Marie. They just lost their mother and their sister last year. That was hard. They're hurting. They're grieving. But they understand that it's a part of life. They understand that. But of course, they love and miss their mother. So what do? You pray for them. Sometimes we may say the wrong thing. We may think we're helping, but I just want to caution you to just be mindful of what you're saying. I want to give a shout out to Jean Horace as we get ready to lay her to rest on February the 2nd. To Bub, Kiki, Fufu, and Remy, you know I love you. That goes without saying. I will definitely be in the building. Whatever y'all need me to do, I know I'm on program, but whatever it is y'all need me to do, I am there. She lived her life. But talking to her youngest son, he don't want to hear that. Some people have said some things that are kind of insensitive. And at the end of the day, what I told him is that don't even worry about them. Your mom is still with you. Your loved ones, your mothers, your fathers, your children, your siblings. When you lose someone, they are still with you. You hold on to those memories. And my request, my suggestion is to go to God. Ask Him every day to give you strength. And for those of you who may not believe in God, I am sorry. That's your issue because that's all that I know. That's how I've been able to survive. I lost my daughter. Nobody helped me through that but God. There were people who sold into me. I had people read scripture. I had people send me cards every month. I had people that, took time to pray with me. I also had some people who was mean to me. They told me, oh, you using your daughter's death as an excuse. How can you do that? People said some evil things. I heard a lady, she was a Jehovah's Witness. She says, oh, well, you hope your baby's in God's memory. How could you say something like that to someone that just lost their child? The dad wanted to cuss her out, but I said, no. I said, don't even worry about it. Because I know in my heart where my child is. The scripture says to be absent from the body, it means to be present with the Lord. My daughter was innocent. So I know where she was. And I also want to share something with you guys. Sometimes I've also heard people say if somebody dies, it was karma or they reap what they sow. Everybody that has died is not evil and is not bad, and that's not why they died. See, that's why it's important to study to show thyself approved. You have to do your own research. You don't know what that individual did or said before they left here. And I want to share something with you. If they accepted Jesus Christ as their personal savior and they have asked for forgiveness, they actually made it. So you cannot say this person, is evil or went to hell. You don't know that. It's not our assignment. It's not our job to judge. The only thing that I want to just express to you today is that death and dying is a part of life. I've gone to funerals where, people fell apart. Some people even committed suicide. I have a neighbor who his wife died unexpectedly, and then he killed himself. And we don't know the pain that he suffered. So it's not my job to say how bad his hurt was. But what I will say is he still had two minor children. What about them? So now not only they don't have a mother, but now they don't have a father. The way I was raised and where I come from, giving up was never and is never an option. It doesn't make me better. It just makes me confident in knowing that any and every situation this life throws at me, I got a comforter. I have a creator. The universe is going to cover me. I cry. I get hurt. I get disappointed. I get depressed. I'm down sometimes, but I don't stay in that space because I don't like being in that space. That old saying, joy cometh in the morning, you better believe it and you better know it. Just because you may start off having a bad day doesn't mean you have to continue. How I've been able to ascend through life is I rewrite my story often. That is absolutely correct. When something bad happens to me, I've had my heart broken. I've been betrayed to, lied on, lied to, discriminated against, but I don't stay there. I strive to find something positive in every situation. For example, I lost my daughter. How could you possibly find something good in that situation? Well, from her death, it caused me to become closer to God. Through her death, I've been able to become an advocate for other parents who've lost a child because I've been there. Through her death, I'm able to hold on to those memories and strive to make it to where she is. And that's just to name a few. So, in any and all situations, we're able to look in the mirror and not be selfish. Life has taught me and helped me to become more mature. There's been times where I was like, well, why this is not happening or why this person didn't react this way. Well, God makes all of us different. We all are unique. None of us are the same. Even those who have twins, none of them are the same. God gives us all a different bandwidth. Now, I've lost a child. God blessed me to um, have 4 children. I now have 3. So my prayer request is I don't want to lose another child. Correction, I do not. I prayed and asked God that prayer, and I pray it often. I pray over my children's life. I pray over other people's life. I pray over the homeless. I pray over the sick. I pray over the prison bound. I learned all this at an early age under the leadership of Pastor Cobb Sr. These are the things that he would always pray for. And I remember us being on broadcast on Sundays. Do y'all remember the broadcast with Pastor Cobbs on Sundays on KVIA? I remember. I think last year we no longer on the air, but I remember those. See, what I've learned in life is when you plant seeds, and we all plant them, whether they're good or whether they're bad, we all are planting seeds. My desire is to leave a little bit of YT in my community. And my prayer is that I am able to help you have better outcomes personally and professionally. I'm an educator by trade, right? I'm an educator. I'm an emotional intelligence coach. I'm a chaplain. I'm part of both sides of the conversation, social media manager. I'm going to be the interim secretary. So everything that I do, you may not understand it, but I do. It's a method to the madness. Everything that I do is not that I may get the glorification, but is that God will get the glorification in my community. Through my hurt, through my trauma, my prayer is that I'm able to help someone. My target audience is actually the youth. I have a special place for my young adults. When I graduated from San Francisco State University, my major was in juvenile justice, and yeah, juvenile. It was juvenile justice. I got my BA, and before that, I was in school to get my nursing degree. But I ended up losing my daughter, and it was just really hard for me to concentrate. So I switched my major. And thinking about the major, I'm just thinking about the young man who got killed. I believe on January the 7th. I didn't watch the video in totality because it's a trigger for me. So those of you who know me, I don't watch the news. I stopped watching the news after 9/11. I lost my daughter, then 9/11 happened. And every time I would turn on the news, it would be something negative, and it was triggering for me. So my therapist suggested to not watch the news, for a little bit, but it's been like that. Now I'm gonna be honest, because I am a social media manager and I have a platform, I have no choice but to be on social media. But let me just tell you, as soon as I turn it on, it's something negative, right? So lately, I've been in people comments trying to turn the narrative. I've been striving to change the narrative. Let's look at it this way. For example, Draymond Green, the whole scandal with that and him hitting Jordan Poole. He did a podcast with Stephen A. Smith, and people just was being negative. Oh, he's making excuses. And what he said was that he was already in a bad space when he came to practice. He was dealing something himself, and he went from 0 to 100, which he, took accountability of it. So for me, I have respect for him for letting us know. Other people in the comments was like, "Oh, he making an excuse." No. Yes, he is an athlete, but he's a man. He's a human first. People don't realize that. Just like pastors and bishops. Yes, they have given their life to God and they have an assignment, but they are human too. We can really be so judgmental and cruel and negative and evil when it comes to our leaders. Our leaders are dealing with things. What is that old saying? The principles and principalities is deeper than us. See, when the devil see that you are affecting change, positive change, and you can get people to be better, the devil will throw things at you. He does it to me. I took a class at New College of California. I went into the master's program. I have a master's degree in humanities leadership. And one of the people that did their thesis on leadership talked about in order to be a good leader, you have to also be a good follower. Being a good follower means being a good listener. Being a good leader is pushing your people to be better. I'm thinking about my mentor, DB, and people always ask him because he has a ambassador program, and he mentors people. And he shared with me that people ask him, "You ain't scared for people getting some of your money or taking some of your business?" And he'll tell you, "No, they can't take what was for me." See, I've learned in life that whatever God has for you, I don't care who copy, who try to steal it, it is yours. Let's stop being jealous of other people and what they're doing. I've never been jealous of anybody on this earth, seriously. I admire and I look up to Beyonce. I'm not jealous of her. I would love to meet her. So if anybody know her, get this to her. But no, honestly no. I look up to her. I admire her. And I strive to look at some of the things that she's done throughout her life to help her get to where she is. But it's not a jealousy. It's not being envious. Stephen A. Smith made a comment about Rihanna is not Beyonce. She's not. They're two totally different people. They may be entertainers. They both are beautiful queens. They both sell records. I happen to like Rihanna and Beyonce. But I've been a Beyonce fan before I even knew who Rihanna was. It doesn't make Beyonce better than her. They're just different. That goes the same with pastors. My pastor is Bishop Clark, Bishop Keith Lee Clark, to be exact. Do I think he's better than other pastors? Absolutely not. But he's the person that I chose to be up under my leadership. There's other pastors who I respect and I love, but they're not a Bishop Clark. And those pastors and he is not who they are. Stop always trying to compare people. They're doing it with LeBron James and Stephen Curry. They are two totally different people. They're in two totally different class. Stephen Curry is one of my favorite players. So was Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan. It doesn't mean somebody's better than somebody. So let's just stop doing that. We live in a world where everybody's just so competitive. I don't need to be competitive because I know what I am. I know who I belong to. The only person I ever try to outdo or ever try to be better than is myself. I thank God that I still have my mother. My mother is 73 years old. The best thing my mother ever taught me was about God. That's the best thing she ever taught me. Because without him, Yolanda, Thomas, YT is nothing. I can't make it without him. I just can't. There's been times I've needed to talk to my sons. They weren't available. There were times I needed to talk to my daughter. She wasn't available. There's been time I needed to talk to my mother. She wasn't available. There's been times I needed to talk to my pastor. He wasn't available. There's times I needed to talk to my friends. They weren't available. But let me tell you who's always available to me, and that's the Creator. He listens to me anytime. I don't care where I'm at. I don't care if I'm in the middle of doing something I got no business doing. I don't care if I've done something. I don't care if I'm at church. I don't care if I'm driving. I don't care if I'm in the elevator. I don't care what situation I am in. I can always call on and depend on God. You know, I've had people tell me they didn't want to go to church because they smoke weed. Let me just tell you something. God don't care about that. Somebody told me they didn't want to go to church because they had had a drink. Maybe if you come to church, and I want to say something about that. Going to church is here. It's not the building. I want to make that clear. When the pandemic started, I think God showed us that. We had to all go to Zoom. We couldn't go to the building, but the word still went on. So stop feeling like, oh, I got to get myself together. God accepts you right where you are. People may not, but God does. When God takes something from us, he always replaces it with something better. I know that anybody who lost their mother, you're hurting. I can't sit here and honestly tell you I know how you feel because I cannot. I can only empathize with what you're going through. I lost a daughter. I can relate to people who lost a child. But even in that, I can't say I know how somebody's feeling because I don't. I can just share with you my experience. So when somebody loses someone, stop saying I know how you feel because you do not. I hate to tell y'all that. You don't know. We're different. But my desire is to move all of us to a place when someone dies that we may not understand it, but we can definitely accept it and keep going. We're not going to feel like we can't be here anymore. You know, suicide. I did a whole segment on suicide. Go back to Believe Radio and you can find it. I can't understand why anybody would take their life. Now, can I empathize? Oh, absolutely. When I lost my daughter, My first thought was I didn't want to be here. And I had to remember I had two other children. That would have been very selfish of me to just give up over her. But it was rough, y'all. It was hard. I'm not sitting here like I had it all together, and I still don't. Death is rough. I lost my uncle. That hurt. When Belva died, that hurt. Mama Jean just died. That hurt. But I got to keep going. You have to keep going. We need you to survive. Keep her memory going. I know some of us are selfish and we don't want to help others and we think about ourselves. If you don't know what to say, like the songwriter says, maybe you shouldn't say anything at all. Bring some food, offer some money, be an ear. But let's work on not saying things that, that further hurts the pain. I know Remy told me that, a couple of people was just like, oh, I'm okay, but he's not. So I'm in prayer with him that God will help him through this process. Death brings about change. Either you're going to change for the better or you're going to change for the worse. So my prayer of my beloved community, of my family and friends, is that when we lose our loved ones, is that we move into a better. It takes family. We all are hurting, but everybody hurts different. Death and dying is an all part of life. I think once we kind of accept that, it'll help us better when we lose our loved ones. It's not that we don't care, but falling apart, having a heart attack, going out and doing things, it doesn't help the narrative. It doesn't help the situation. I was in a bad place when I lost my daughter. I was, but he brought me back. He's helping me transition. And at times, her birthday's coming up, February 12th. It's coming up. I think about it. Why my daughter? But on the flip side of that, why not her? She wasn't no better than anybody else's. And I'm gonna be honest, I hate when them St. Jude's commercials come on because they be so sad. And it's one of them that I just recently cried on. I'm like, why do they keep showing this? We can give without you showing these stories. And for me, it hurts because I'm like, wow, this child is still alive and still living, but my daughter was taken from me. But all I can do is just thank God for the time that He allowed her to be here, and I can just help other people. All right? Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Thank you for listening to Believe Radio, 24-hour inspirational and gospel music. No longer do you have to wait for Sunday mornings to be inspired and uplifted. You can just cut on the app anytime. Go to Believe Radio Bay Area and you can listen and you can tune in. I want to also give a shout out to our operations manager, Adam. Thank you for being patient with me. Thank you for all of your support. It really means a lot. I also want to give a shout out to Minister Curtis Thomas. I want to thank him for actually meeting him and the whole journey and bringing me on to Believe Radio. Because without him, I wouldn't have known about it. So I want to also give a shout out to him. Enjoy your day. The 49ers will win over the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, we are going to the Super Bowl, and I will be back. I will definitely be back when we get to the Super Bowl, and my whole show is going to be about the 49ers. Maybe I can get some of my people, some of the 49ers in here on my show, because I'm definitely going to be working on it. Thank you. You have a wonderful and blessed day. And remember, you can make it through anything. Encourage yourself. Encourage yourself. Have a good one.